First of all, your reaction to hearing the president of the Electoral Commission there saying they need 16 months to get things ready.
16 months and 1 day. I'm not surprised at all. In one sense, he's right. They're not prepared for it. There's been no census for years. They don't know who's on the voter roll and who's not. But it's also clear that with the elections having been mandated years ago, that there was time to prepare. So it's very clear to me that this has been a stall from the very beginning.
A stall from the very beginning. We've seen the violence this week. The government denies being responsible for the torching of Etienne Tshisekedi's opposition headquarters. What can we extrapolate from the situation in Kinshasa as regards the rest of this country of more than 60 million people?
I would say this, that there will continue most likely to be protests and attempts by the opposition and by those who really are concerned that there be an election and the election be held in a timely manner. It's bound to continue. We're going to see this until an election is called. What encourages me about this particular election is that the opposition, the civil society, really seem to be focused on the electoral process and creating change in the country. This is probably the first time I've really seen this in this concerted effort since independence, where the opposition, civil society are not simply bent on change at any cost, but really are focused on the electoral process. And
which brings me back to what you were saying in your first answer, which is, can you hold an election in a country like Congo?
If you have the political will, you can. It will take some preparation. But it is possible. I think elections in other places have demonstrated this, but it takes the will and it takes the resources to do that. And right now, I think that the president has been emboldened by what has happened recently in neighboring countries, specifically Rwanda and Uganda, who have held elections, keeping their presidents in office beyond the originally constitutional mandates. Burundi has done it another way with violence, and I suspect that this is part of a pattern that we're seeing. I hope that the Congo can resolve this peacefully and can resolve it with elections and without a delay that takes us well into another term of office. But I mean, people have been saying for a long time that the delay is going to happen as part of a strategy. It's not simply the inability to do the elections; it's a strategy to delay the elections.
Yeah, so emboldened by longtime strong men hanging on in Uganda, Rwanda, also in Burundi, as you say. Perhaps spooked a little bit by events in Gabon, where it's proving harder than before to cheat at the ballot box.
I think spooked by that, but also by Burkina Faso and several other places. People were calling this several years ago an African Spring. And I think it was really the Burkina Faso elections that really set Congo's civil society on a course to say we can make change in this country. Gabon certainly does not hurt the matter.
And just a final question for you, Paul. What kind of a man is President Joseph Kabila? Because there's going to be perhaps a push comes to shove moment where he's either going to have to bend or crack down.
Well, I can't measure the character of a man who I've never met. I would say that it's really right now for me, as I look at the situation, it's a toss-up whether he will bend or whether he will continue to try to hang on to power. I think the bigger questions are, what does his military do? How much violence is there? How long is this protracted, or is it going to die down? And all of those are considerations that I don't think we have the answers to right now. My guess is that he will try to hang on to power as long as he possibly can. One of the things I think the opposition and civil society could do would give him a means to leave office, and he's a young man to basically have some form of security the rest of his life. I mean, that's what happened in Kenya with President Moi. It's increasingly what's happening in some of the other African countries. A way to retirement, a way to honor and dignity after that. So as long as people fear their future, they're going to hang on to what they have. I also think it's not totally his issue. I think it's those who are around him who also benefit by his presence. There's an adage that not everybody wants change, because those who benefit from it are definitely not interested in it.